Good morning, guys. Right, it is Wednesday. Oh, sun's coming through. It's Wednesday. And for me, shop day. So I am going to set up my Shopt. Now, I am taking the 5th dose today. So I'm on a 7.5 milligram at the moment. I have no plans to go up at the moment, so I'm staying on 7.5. I do have my next one in the pen. My next pen in the fridge. It's early. I'm not awake yet. Okay. So in a second, I'll turn it around and show you actually how I do it. Like I said, this is no means an instructional manual. It's just the way I do it. It's not medical advice, so please don't take it as such. So for those that don't know, I am type 2 diabetic, and I do get my Mounjaro prescribed for me on the NHS. Now, somebody asked in the comments why I take the 5th dose if I'm getting it prescribed. It's not like I have to pay for it, which is true. I get that totally. But there's a couple of reasons why I do. Now, I don't always, but I mean, I'm doing this one specifically for vlogging purposes. I don't need to take it this month. However, I do find, as any of you know in the UK, getting a GP appointment can be difficult. So anytime I want to move up a dose, I do need to see my doctor. I have to have it re-prescribed. If I'm staying on the same one, I can just put it on repeat prescription, which is great. But if I'm at the point when I'm moving up, I do have to see the doctor, get some checks done, and then they'll re-prescribe it for me. So utilising the 5th dose gives me a bit of a buffer in case I can't get an appointment. So, you know, as I'm sure you're all aware, it can take 2 weeks easily sometimes to get a doctor's appointment. And you can't go too early because they won't re-prescribe. So you're in a bit of a catch-22. So having that 5th dose does give me a little bit of a buffer to just ease me into not worrying about having to get my next prescription in that sense. It's there. And it's also helped when I've wanted to move up, because as I'm sure most of you are aware that have been watching me for a while, I've not titrated up immediately to the next dose. I've done a couple of weeks halfway point. So when I went from 2.5 to 5, I did 3 weeks, I think it was, at 3.75, which is a dose and a half of the 2.5. So utilising that 5th dose gives me that additional amount to be able to do that. Or you can do it on a lesser dose from a 5. And again, I did exactly the same when I went from a 5 to 7.5. I took 6.25 for a couple of weeks. And I was able to do that because I was halfway through my 5 pen, and I didn't want to wait another 2 weeks. The food noise was coming back. I thought the 5 just wasn't enough for me at that time. And obviously I then had to get a new doctor's appointment to go up to the 7.5. So I utilised the additional amount in the 5th dose to be able to take 6.25 for a couple of weeks. And then moved on to the 7.5. So hopefully that answers why I'm taking it. But there is another reason. Yes, I am prescribed it. I'm lucky I don't have to pay for it in that sense. Not so lucky that I'm type 2 diabetic, but also I just don't like waste. I don't know what it is. I'm perfectly happy that dose is perfectly safe. It's exactly the same stuff that you've been taking for the 4 weeks beforehand. It's still within the 30 days. I don't like to waste it. So if I can utilise it, I do. I don't always take it. This month, like I said, I didn't need to this month. I do already have my next pen. I could have just moved straight onto that. But for the purpose of this, I said I would show how I do it. So that's why. Right, and on that note, I'll turn the camera around, I'll set this up, and I'll show you my actual injection. I won't be showing the actual injection, so anybody that's a bit squiffy about that. I'm not actually going to be showing the injection. I'm just going to show how I draw it from the pen. Okay, let's turn this around. Okay, so I've laid everything out. So I have my 1 ml insulin syringe there, and as I said, it goes up in units. Let's get this to focus. So it's 1 ml syringe, and you've got 20, 30, 40, and so on. And a full dose, as we've said before, is 0.6. So that's 60 units on here. Now I am only going to be taking a normal full dose. Some people quite happily take whatever's left, which is usually a little bit more. I will do that if I'm moving up, but I'm planning on staying on 7.5. So at the moment, I'm not going to be doing that. So that's what's left in the pen. So this is my, oops, let's get it in shot, shall we? 7.5, and that's what's left. I reckon there's most likely 9 in there. Well, I'll draw it all off and then we'll see actually how much is in there, but I'm only going to be taking 60 units. Okay, let's pop that there for a second. Get my alcohol wipe. Prep it exactly the same as you would if you were putting a needle on. So you're going to take your alcohol wipe, you're going to give it a good clean. Make sure you clean the bung, because every time you pierce the bung, you are potentially putting bacteria into it or opening it up to bacteria. So just leave that to dry for a second. Okay, right, so I'm going to take my insulin syringe. Now, as I said, you've got 2 ends on this. So you've got the plunger, just abandon that, and then we've got the needle itself. Now, it is slightly longer. It's not a huge difference. Get that to far. It is slightly longer, so if anyone's a little nervous about it, it's just as fine, and it really doesn't hurt. It's the same. It's just overcoming that initial, oh, that's a bit bigger than I'm used to type thing. But anyway, this is the tricky bit. It is difficult to draw it off. I'm not going to lie. You've got to be a bit ambidextrous. So right, let's pop it through the bung all the way in. Okay, and then what I tend to do is try and hold it with the one hand, and then hopefully you can see the numbers on that one, and then draw back on the syringe, and you draw back slowly, and it will eventually start to fill. And if you watch the grey bung in the actual pen, that slowly comes down as well. So you just slowly draw it back until you've got your desired dose. Like I said, I'm going to empty this completely just to see how much we do have in it, and then I will do the calculations and pop it up on the screen and let you know exactly what it would be in milligrams. So yeah, it just causes a vacuum inside, and it just draws out the liquid and pulls down that grey bung inside the pen. So I think that's about it. So we'll just take that out there. Oops. Okay, then as you would do any injection, you're just going to turn it up the right way, give it a tap, let all the air rise to the top, push any air out, and then we're pretty much, let's give it another go. That's got all the air out. Let's get that into focus, shall we? There we go, that's better. Okay, so that's all the air out, and if I just give it a little push, you can see there's no fluid come out. So as you would do when you were priming your pen. And if you can see the mark, we are pretty much at the 60. So I'm not going to spill any more on that. I'm just going to take that dose, which is basically a full dose. Sometimes there's a little bit more in there. Sometimes it's unlikely you're going to get less unless you've used a lot for priming throughout your other 4 injections. But on the whole, you should be looking at 60. So, right, I'm going to take that. I am going to do this off camera. And so I'm just going to pause you for a second and we'll come back. Okay, there we go, all done. Right, so as you would with your normal pen, pop the lid back over your needle, push it on, and then that goes in your sharps box as normal. Right, so that's the pen now completely empty, so nothing left in there at all. Let's just get out of focus. And I do have my next 7.5 ready to go. Okay, let's pop the lid back on that, and this can just go in your normal household rubbish. You don't have to dispose of it in any particular way. I do know people that are holding it up and try and get, but you can, it just says you can just dispose in your normal household rubbish. So that's that done. That's my injection done for the week, and I shall catch you up on Saturday, hopefully, in the gym. I'm going to try and get a bit of my gym workout in. And if not, Sunday with my update. So, see you later. Bye. Good morning, guys. Right, it's Sunday. Another week gone. Can't believe it's absolutely flown by this week. I've had a lot of work to do, so work's been really busy. I just do one of these jobs that has a deadline end of month, so always the run up to the end of month is always absolutely chocker, and then we can sort of take our foot off the gas for a little bit. So going into next week, hopefully it'll get a bit calmer. But no, really busy week, but it's been really good. Haven't had any issues. I've had no problems with any side effects, thankfully. So I'm still on the 7.5. So as you've seen, I've just taken the 5th dose, and that was of my first pen of 7.5. So I've already got another 7.5 in the fridge ready to go for next week. I will be changing my day. I'm bringing it forward a day because of my holiday coming up in a few weeks' time. So I'm going to be doing it on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday. Not quite sure when I'm going to do that yet. I don't want to do it too close to the holiday because I don't want to reduce the gap to the 6 days. So I may do it next week. It may be the week after. We'll see. But in the next couple of weeks, I'll reduce it down. Just by the 1 day. And then when I come back from my holiday, I'm going to reduce it a couple of times to bring it in line with a Sunday. I think I've mentioned it before in a previous vlog. I weigh in on a Sunday, but the way my injection started off, it was just a different day. But I've always done my weigh in on a Sunday. Religiously got up Sunday morning, shower, everything else, but also did my weight at the same time. So I try not to get on the scale on a daily basis. I may do a sneaky midweek, just because the scales are in the bathroom. It's just too tempting to get on, isn't it? But I don't like doing daily. It plays with my head. I can't deal with the up and down. I know weighing up once a week isn't ideal, because if you do weigh on one of your up days, you can't win. I understand that weighing daily and then sort of like taking an average maybe of the week. And in an ideal world, I'd most likely weigh fortnightly, if not monthly. But yeah, the temptation's there, isn't it? So it's difficult to do that. So how's my week been in general? So just good all round. I've had I do get hungry, and I do feel the hunger coming on a little bit more when I get to that sort of day 6, 7. But the food noise is still not there. I'm not obsessing around food. I'm just getting hungry when I get to my meal times, which means as long as I plan it, which I specifically plan out my meals pretty much. If not on a complete weekly basis, I have a good idea of what I'm going to be doing throughout the week. And the evening before, I will tend to plan what we're going to have for dinner the following day. Even if that's just making sure that I take some chicken out of the freezer or whatever it's going to be. So I've always got a rough plan of what I'm going to have. I don't just wait till I'm hungry and then just go to the cupboards, because that's when the danger is. You just want something quick. So food-wise, been really good. Managed to stay within my calories. I did increase my calories by a couple of hundred on my app, just to give me. I think I was not so much under eating, but I was definitely under eating carbs for me. I just think I needed to up my carbs a little bit because it was playing with my sleep, and I have done that just a tad. It maybe only 50-60 calories or something like that, so an extra potato or something. So but I do think it's helping, but who knows. I have had comments previously that I'm eating too many carbs. I personally don't think I am. I think I'm well under the guidelines for carbs, and it's what suits you, isn't it? Some people cut things out completely. I don't believe in cutting anything out of my diet, and it's what suits you. So on that, so like I said, food's been fine, hunger's been fine. I've been hungry at meals, but not overly hungry. I've eaten a decent sized meal, and that satisfied me. So I'm not wanting to snack, have any treats or anything like that. So that's been great. This week, exercise has been really good. I have managed, or before I move on to exercise, water or fluids in general, I have definitely lacked on the fluids department in this week. I don't know I think possibly my workload. Like I said, I've been really busy at work and I just forget to drink. Now, I've got a 2 litre bottle right next to me, and then all of a sudden I look at it 3 hours later and I've not touched it. So I'm having to force myself to drink a little bit more. I drink maybe between 3-4 cups of either tea, coffee throughout the day. I'll have a glass of squash. I'll have a glass of, tend to be just water with my meals. But it's that just sipping throughout the day that I've sort of lacked on this week. So that's something for next week that I do need to consciously up. Exercise. Haven't been out walking as much as I would like. However, I have managed to get my steps in most days. We have walked to and from the gym, and we've been to the gym 3 times this week. So that's a real positive. I'm just feeling so much better in the gym. I'm going to pop some quick things from yesterday's session in. I think it'll be on the outside actually. I'm just feeling so much more comfortable in there now. We joined the gym mid-January. Yeah. So, and I call gyms, it's like, it's a bit daunting when you first go in there. You stick to the sort of the corners and hide on the machines that you sort of know. But over the time, we've just got used to the surroundings, used to being in there, getting to know some of the faces that are in there on a regular basis, which is really nice. And we're just venturing into what I call the big boy toys a little bit more. So yeah, you wouldn't have got me walking into the free weight section. And now I'm walking in, I'm setting up the big dumbbell barbells, sorry. Now I'm setting up the squat racks, although I can't squat just yet, but I do my deadlift from the squat racks. And I'm feeling comfortable in there. I am putting this down to a non-scale victory this week. It's the fact that I had a look. The gym that I go to has got an app, and you can track your workouts and put what weights you're using. And I had a look back at what I was doing in January compared to what I did yesterday, Saturday. And on average, I've upped my weights by about 5k on pretty much every exercise. And my deadlift has gone up 15k. So and I'm ready to go up again on that one. So I'm going to have added about 20k to the bar by the time this goes out. So yeah, Monday's deadlift day, which is just astonishing. I'm feeling so much stronger, and especially my legs. So those Bulgarian split squats that I'm putting up there, they absolutely killed me the first time I did them. This time, still hurt, don't get me wrong, they're not an easy exercise. And my backside is definitely feeling it today, just a tad. But I recover so much faster from them now. So all in all, the whole gym has just been one big non-scale victory through the whole lot. I didn't think I'd, I've as many people do, I've joined the gym plenty of times and I've paid that subscription and I've not gone, or I've gone once or twice. But this time we've really making it a habit, and so on average we're going twice a week, and I said last week was 3 times. A couple of weeks prior to that it was 3 times, so that we're building up to that 3 times a week habit. So that's been really positive. Right, as for my actual weight, now I had quite a big loss last week. I had nearly £3 loss, which is huge for me. I barely touch a pound most of the times, if anything. So that was massive. So this week, got onto the scales this morning and I've maintained exactly the same as I was last week. So that's not surprising. I didn't expect a loss. In fact, because it was such a big loss last week for me, I sort of expected a bit of a gain. I thought maybe it might counteract somewhere, but stayed exactly the same. So for me, at least, I'm taking as a real positive, because that weight is true. So it wasn't just a blip last week, which is always the fear, isn't it? So that's been really positive. So maintained. It was about a month ago that I took my measurements. Now I was going to do my measurements, but I've decided I'm going to wait and I'm going to do those at my 6-month point, which is another 4 weeks. So I'll do all my measurements again at that point. Right, goals going forward. As most of you know, because I've been banging on about it every single time because I'm getting excited now. I go on holiday in 4 weeks' time. I think it's 4 weeks and 2 days. My son keeps telling me every day how long it's going to be. And he is his 30s. I mean, we're both excited about just getting away and having some sunshine. It's been a few years. So that's a real positive. So my goal is still to get down to 10 stone. I would like to have been 10 stone for the holiday. I sort of resigned myself most likely a month ago now, that when everything started to slow down, that I most likely wouldn't make it to the 10 stone. So I'd sort of said, if I can be around 10.5, that would be great. Now I'm now 10.3.7, so I've already come under that. So I've got £4 realistically to get me under the 10. Can I do that in the next 4 weeks? On paper, yes, absolutely. £1 a week. Telling my body to do that is a different matter. So I'm not hanging anything on that. I'm hoping that I might be. Just gives me a buffer, because I am planning on eating and drinking and having a really good holiday. I'm not going to track. I'm not going to worry about what I'm taking. I'm just going to listen to my body. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. But I'm not going to be snacking on all the crap that I would have done previously. So, I'm expecting, I wouldn't say a huge gain, but a significant gain when I come back. But hopefully it'll be a lot of water weight. It'll just be a case of a couple of weeks of being good when I get back, and we should be back to a level playing field. So goals, like I said, that £4 for the next 4 weeks. I'm going to stay on 7.5. I've got no intention of moving up as yet. I will reassess that once I come back from a holiday. I don't know. I don't want to go up to the 10, but I know it's an option. I think I will do another 7.5 once I come back from a holiday, just to ease myself back into it, and then maybe look at going up again. But we'll see. A little long-term goal. Once I get to the 10, what I tend to do is I just I reset my goal for another £10. So at the moment 140 is my goal, and then I'll reduce that down to 130. Where my big target comes in, I think my ideal weight is around 120. So I do still have a couple of stone left to lose easily. I'm only 5'1". I'm small. I think my so-called average total weight should be 113, I believe. That I just don't believe that's going to happen. But if I can get nearer to the 120, I'd be happy with that. But that's long term. That's going to be at least another 6 months. In this 6 months, I've lost, coming up to 6 months now, I've lost 169. I'll pop it on the screen. I can't do the maths in my head this early in the morning. I started off at, I think it was 169. I'm now 143. So you do the maths. I will put it all there from my start weight to what I am now. Right, and pretty much that's it for this week. There's not much of an update in that sense. I do, however, want to just make a couple of shout outs. For those of you that are following me, I'm assuming you are following a lot of the channels that I follow. And Mounjaro UK, Scott disappeared for a while. He just fell off the radar and sort of didn't know what happened. I'm pleased to say he's back. He has got another channel. I will link it down below. So if you've been wondering what's been going on with Scott, please go back, go and find him. He just popped up on my feed again. So thankfully he's back and he's doing well. So go back, give him a follow. Okay, and the other shout out I want to do is for Freddie from Freddie Runs. He smashed the Manchester Marathon last week. And if any of you do follow, it was looking like he might not be able to do it. But thankfully he got out there and he did it. So well done, Freddie. We'll be cheering you on for Endure 24 next. And as we speak today, it's the Birmingham Half Marathon, of which my son has literally just started. I am following him on the app. So hopefully he'll be done. He's going for a time, so he's hoping to smash his old. I think the last time he did it, maybe 10 years ago now, 10 years ago, I think he got about 150. But he's been actually training this time, so he's hoping to bring his time down under 140. So we'll see how he does. So I'm going to go follow him on the app. So I'm not a runner. I will never be a runner. I can't see the point of it, to be perfectly honest. But I've got to admire anybody that can even attempt and think about doing a marathon. No, not for me. But I'll watch from the sidelines and I'll cheer you on. So anyway, go and follow Scott. Go and give him support on his new channel, and also give Freddie a like and a run. Give Freddie a like and a follow. Yeah, so both of them well worth it. Both on Mounjaro, both vlogging their lives as we all do. So right, and on that note, I'm going to leave you to it. Bank holiday Monday tomorrow, so back in the gym. My gym's closing for a couple of days. How dare they? They're doing a bit of a refresh, so they're closed for a couple of days. So in the gym tomorrow, and then I'll have a longish break then till Saturday when I go again. And I will see you guys all next Sunday, and that will be my week 23, week 24. It honestly, it's flying by. I just wish the weight was flying off as quickly, but slow and steady. Right, guys, you all have a really good week, and I shall see you next Sunday. Bye for now.